Hey everyone, my name is Mike, and today I decided to start a starter account um, to pretty much see how a fresh account looks when you first start the game and maybe go over a few things and help new players out. All right, so this will be a series of videos that I'll be making. So the first will be probably all the different races and all the different racial traits that they have. I'll probably make a video going over the customization options and then maybe, one on classes, and then we'll get into the game and then I'll show you some other stuff that'll be helpful if you're a new player. All right, so let's get into it. So what I first noticed is right when you log in, it kind of throws you into the character creation screen, um, which is a perfect way to start. But let's go back to the menu, because sometimes the game will start with the sound really high, so you can come in here, change the sound, change your languages, network, and then all this advanced setting for graphics and whatnot. So if you want to come in here and do that, that's where it's at. So just so you know, when you start the game, you're like, why is it starting me on like a menu screen? You just got to go back and then it's right here. All right. So if you want to create a new character, this is the screen you want to start on. What I want to point out is up here, there's realms. So if you click on this, it'll pull up this realm list, and say you have friends that are playing on a certain realm, you might want to figure out what realm they're on and then go to that realm and start a new character. So we're just going to go to a random, let's go to Deathwing. So now it's moved me over to that server and put me on the character creation screen. All right, so I'm going to show you everything you need to know about the character creation screen. So first we got Horde on the right side and Alliance on the left side. So when you make a character on the Alliance side, you'll only be able to play and interact with people on Alliance. Now, not yet, but soon they're going to be letting those kind of restrictions ease up a bit, and you'll be able to do some raids with each faction. But for now, we're just going to say that you can only interact with these people, and if you're on a PvP or if you have war mode, and you want a PvP, then the Horde will be who you're fighting if you're Alliance, and the Alliance will be who you're fighting if you're Horde. So, on the Alliance, we have humans, we have dwarves, we have night elves, gnomes, Draenei, Worgen, and Pandaren. And then on the Horde side, we have orcs, undead, Tauren, trolls, blood elves, goblins, Pandaren. So pandas, the Pandaren, are on both factions. Now up here on the top is male and female, so you can go through and see all the males of those races. And Taurens are pretty cool. They're big, beefy. Undead are cool. So what I want to go over first is every race has certain racial traits. So to figure that out, you go over to the humans, and if you right click on them, it'll show you that the humans have increased haste and critical strike, mastery, and versatility. So all your secondary stats, you get a little bit more if you're a human. And then you get bonus to reputation gains and breakout of stun effects. It's basically, if you get stunned, you just click a button and you're out of that stun. It's pretty nice. Dwarves, you may take on stone form, and I wish I would kind of tell you exactly what that does, but I believe it gets rid of a bleed. Say if the enemy puts a bleed on you, which is a damage that ticks over time, you can kind of hit that button and get rid of that bleed. And then dwarves also have increased effect from critical strike, resistant to frost damage, and you find more archaeology fragments and survey faster, which archaeology is a profession that we'll go over with later. Also, we got night elves. You can fade into the shadows, which basically gives you a stealth which you'll go invisible to the enemy. But I believe you can't move. I don't play Alliance, so and so I'm not too familiar with Alliance characters, but I believe you can't move while you're stealth. You kind of have to just stand there, but you can hide if you see something coming towards you. Also, night elves are more difficult to hit, which means their dodge chance is probably higher. You move faster when you're dead. Basically, when you die in this game, you turn into a ghost form, and you have to run back to your body. Well, if you're a night elf, you turn into a wisp, and you kind of float back to your body, but a little bit quicker than if you're just any other race. You're resistant to nature damage. You're faster movement while stealthed, so great class if you're a rogue, and faster attacks at night and increased critical chance during the day, which is a new, somewhat a newish trait that they gave the night elves. It's kind of cool, but a little weird. And those are the night elves, by the way. I didn't click on them. So here's the gnomes. The gnomes, you escape from speed altering effects. So if you get slowed, or if you get chained, like in place, you can press that button and get out of that pretty quickly. Also, you got increased resource pool. So resource pool is your mana or energy or rage. Basically, you're just going to have more of it. And then resistant to arcane damage. Engineering skill increase, which is another profession, and you attack faster. So Draenei have increased jewel crafting skill, as well as a heal over time. So if you're a Draenei and you're low health or a teammate's low health, you can cast a heal on them, and it's not part of your class. It's a heal that your race has. So even if you're a warrior, which really doesn't have much healing, you have a heal. Also increased agility, intellect, and strength, and resistant to shadow damage. All right, so the Worgens are the werewolves pretty much, and you can periodically move quicker. Basically, they go into like a stance where your Worgen gets on all fours and runs really fast. Also, critical chance increased, resistant to nature and shadow damage, and skinning skill and speed increased. All right, Pandaren. One of your racial traits is you put your enemies to sleep with the touch of your hand. That way you press a button, you hit your enemy, it puts them to sleep. You can either heal up or run away or plan your attack on them after they're out of sleep. So that's a good move to have. Receive twice as much rested experience. So rested experience, if you log out in a town or in an inn of some sort, your character gains rested experience the longer you're logged out. That way, when you log back in and start leveling, you kind of get a little bit of a boost at leveling. So every race has rested experience, but pandas receive twice as much rested experience while you're logged out. Increased benefits from eating food. So in this game, when you eat food, certain foods will give you certain stats. Those stats will basically be like doubled, I believe, or a lot more if you're a panda. Also, your cooking skills increased. That's another profession, and you take less falling damage. It's actually a lot less falling damage if you're a panda. Yeah, it's crazy. That's one good thing is, like, if you're a panda and you're running away and you gotta jump off a cliff and someone's chasing you, you could jump off that cliff and probably live, where if they jumped off the cliff after you, they die. All right, so let's go over here. On the horde, we have the orcs. The orcs have enrage to increase damage. Basically, it's a button you hit, your character goes crazy and just starts doing more damage. It's pretty awesome. And then resistant to stun effects. Basically, you can still get stunned, but I believe they last a little less longer than if you weren't an orc. Damage done by pets is increased as well. So if you're a hunter, Down here, you get a pet. If you're a warlock, you get some pets, and those pets will do increased damage if you're an orc. So undead can remove charm, fear, and sleep effects, which is very useful in PvP. It's just a button you click and then bam, you're out of a sleep or a charm or a fear. Undead can consume corpses to regain health and mana. Basically, after you've done killing something, you eat it up and get all your health back. You can also drain health from enemies. Basically, it's a spell that you just cast and you get a little bit of health back hitting them with it. And then you're also resistant to shadow damage. Then we got Tauren, the big boys. So Tauren have a stomp, which stuns everyone around you in like a circle. So you hit that, everybody that's really kind of close by to you gets stunned for a few seconds. That's a good trait to have. Increased stamina, more health. Herbalism skill and speed increased. So if you're out there grabbing herbs, usually it takes a few seconds to grab them, but Taurens pick them faster because they know how to better, I guess. And resistant to nature damage and increased effects from critical strikes. So every time you critical strike, that crit will do a little bit better than if you're a gnome or blood elf. All right, so trolls can berserk, increasing attack speed and casting speed. So it's basically a big haste buff. It's a really good buff to have. Regeneration increased. You just gain your health back faster over time. And increased experience gained from killing beasts. Reduced duration of movement impairing effects. So again, if you get slowed, it'll last a less longer than any other race. So we got blood elves. Enchanting skill increased, another profession. Restore resources like mana or energy, and dispel nearby enemies. Those two go together with one spell called Arcane Torrent, and that will basically, if you're surrounded by enemies and they're casting magic spells on you, and you hit that button, it stops them from casting it and also gives you a little bit back, or a little bit of your resources back. And they're also resistant to arcane damage. All right, so now we got goblins. So goblins have rocket jump, which is pretty cool. Just jumps you over about 10 feet, just small little hop, which is kind of good to get over across big gaps that other classes can't do, that can't jump. Also launch rockets at enemies. It's just kind of more for the theme, but it doesn't really do too much, I believe. Receive vendor discounts, stuff's cheaper, and summon a personal bank. Haste increase, and alchemy skill and potion healing increased. All right, so those are the races in World of Warcraft. Thought I'd go over all of them, kind of help you pick, show you. Sometimes people, when they start the game, obviously it starts you off not even showing what the racial traits do, so that's good to know. And sometimes, you'll regret picking what you picked afterwards. I know when I first started playing the game, I picked an orc warrior, not even knowing what racials were at all. So I figured it'd be a good video to make. And yeah, so thanks for watching. And in the next video, I'll be doing the classes. All right, bye-bye.